What's going on YouTube? It's Dab back with another video. Today I'm going to be live minting and flipping some NFTs for you guys. I'm going to be showing you my thought process as to where I'm entering and exiting on the secondary market after I mint, and how I go about deciding if I want to mint the NFTs or not. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure to stick around to the end. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Always make sure to do your own research before purchasing anything, and let's get right into it. So today I'm going to be minting Antebellum Games. This project did over allocate their whitelist by a little bit, so they are minting out pretty quick. Here's their mint website. You'll come to their Discord, go to their announcements, and they'll announce their minting links. They already have 7,300 minted, so I do have to be a little bit quicker. And usually I like to go check out their charts beforehand, and it's in profit, so I might as well mint. Obviously nothing too crazy at the moment, but I think once this sells out, this will definitely pick up pace. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna go ahead and mint to when I'm minting my whitelist, I like to mint in multiples, so usually I'll max mint whatever I can, and then for this, I'm just gonna put the gas a little bit higher, just to make sure I get it, because they are selling out pretty quick. Now we'll show you guys exactly what I do on the second hand, how I target my exit points, and how I go about watching the volume, and just making sure I know when I want to sell or when I want to hold for a little bit longer. So my transaction went through. I just got my 2 mints. The sales are going pretty crazy right now. There's been 281 sales in the last 10 minutes, 337 in the last hour, which is really great to see. Pretty much every single one on the floor right now is getting purchased. And this is why I love NFT Nerds, because I can see which ones are getting purchased and how much gas the people are using and everything like that. So if I wanted to compete to buy against people on the floor, I could click on this and I can see everyone's transactions. Maybe not, but the floor is really moving at the moment. It's slowly picking up. There is 243 to get to 0.2. The floor is 0.17 at the moment, so that is pretty thick. I do think it's possible, if this volume stays at where it's at, we can definitely break through that wall, but this volume's gonna have to stay pretty consistent. The collection isn't fully sold out yet either. I think once this sells out, there will be a lot of FOMO kicking in, and more people will come to buy on the secondary. So I may look to de-risk at least one of mine here around maybe 0.18 to 0.185 or so, which it seems like there's a lot of sales coming in around that range. So I think that would be a good chunk of my initial investment that I can cover. And then pretty much the other one, I'll be sitting almost just about free, besides like 0.03-ish after gas and that. But I do think it is always a good idea to de-risk at least one of your NFTs, depending on how the sales and floor is looking. But that's just a personal preference of mine, to sell one to cover my initial investment, and then I can ride the other one all the way up and I can hold it as long as I want, or I can hold it down to zero and I won't really be too upset because I took my initial investment off of the table. As you can see, there's a lot of people buying them all over in a pretty wide range. And I think I would like to sell into this volume because there's a lot of high volume at the moment. 374 sales in the last 10 minutes is insane. Usually when projects are doing this, it's definitely a really great sign to see. And all of these are pending transactions at the moment. That's quite a bit for all coming in within the last minute or so. So definitely really good signs to see, and I think going to list one at about 0.18 to 0.19 and see if I can get a sale there, and I'll keep you guys updated if I'm able to sell one there. Always make sure to disconnect from sites after you mint, for security reasons on your wallet. You never know what will happen, but disconnecting kind of gives you a little peace of mind. You can always go to revoke.cash as well and revoke all the permissions from the contract, and you can also do that through Etherscan. You can revoke any permissions that any website may have on your wallet at the time, and that's always another good thing to do with any sort of mint whatsoever. So the floor is currently moving really quickly. These sales have been getting knocked down. I believe they're sold out now, but there's only 79 to get to 0.2 now, which is crazy. This volume is absolutely flying, but I'm definitely going to look to de-risk at least one of mine here at about 0.199, I think, to be able to make sure I can de-risk completely. So I'm listing my NFT for 0.199. Just to be below that 0.2 section, because usually a lot of people will list theirs right at the like solid number of like 0.2 or 0.3 or 0.4. So that's a little tip that you can use to kind of get below those sales and make sure yours sells before those do. And it's really only a difference of like $10, so it's not a big issue there. From 0.2 to 0.21, the wall has been broken down very quickly. There's only 55 left. There's a ton of sales coming in for 0.22. So I think I'm going to list one for about 0.22 to 0.23 and try and exit one there. And that should cover most of my initial investment. And then I can ride this other one and just keep a close eye on it and see where I would like to exit my second one. I listed my first one at 0.235, so I'm going to see if that sells. I'll come over here to Icy Tools and I will watch this page and see if I see any sales come through for 0.235, and then I'll know that mine has sold or not. And I'm just going to keep a close eye on it. These sales are coming in insane. These people are genie sweeping or gem sailing the floor, which is a great sign to see that there's a lot of people that want to get in. And there's been almost 1,200 sales in the last hour, which is nuts to see. This volume is really crazy, and usually I recommend selling into this volume in case something does die off at some point. You're able to at least exit one of them into this crazy volume. So it's been about 2 minutes and my first one already sold at 0.235. Looks like it ended up getting caught up in one of the genie sweeps, which is super sick to see. So I'm pretty much de-risked for the most part, besides like the royalties and such. I probably came out with about 0.18 or so at the moment after all the fees. But my next one is pretty much going to be 100% profit. So let's see what we can end up with. This floor is moving quite steadily, but this volume is not sustainable whatsoever. So I think once this volume dies down, this dump is going to be very quick. It's gonna probably go just straight down, so definitely have to keep a very close eye on when you're minting and looking to exit, because with how volatile the market is at the moment, and especially with the amount of FOMO and volume that's coming in right now, this will dump in a matter of minutes, and most of the time you won't even be able to catch it on its way down because people just undercut over and over and continuously like fight each other to get their sale going first. So definitely keep a super close eye on when you're looking to exit and just make sure to stick to that plan. And if you do end up getting caught in the dump and you're looking to sell there, I would probably recommend just waiting, just because you can't let your emotions take over when you're trading. If you do end up selling on that downtrend and it does end up bouncing back up, you'll probably regret it a lot. So just kind of take a step back and think of the logical reason of if you should sell on this dump and if you think it's gonna go to zero. But with looking at the volume that's coming in right now, I really don't see this going to zero. I mean, the floor is very thin. There's only 250 or so to get to 0.3. So I think at this point, with the amount of volume that's coming in, I think that's a very reasonable exit target. Once we get to about 0.31-ish, that's a super thick wall. There's about 400 listings to get to 0.31. So if it gets past that, it's going to move very quick all the way up to about 0.5-ish, 0.49. But if it doesn't break this 0.3 wall, then it'll probably end up dumping a little bit and slowing down. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. And this is what I was saying about seeing a dump. When it dumps quick. So this is what I mean by not getting emotional when you see this dump. I have some good conviction in this to where I think this is going to dump for a little bit, maybe bottom out around 0.15-ish, and hopefully it'll bounce back up. And I think with the amount of volume that's been coming in, I think we should be able to see a nice bounce right back up and hopefully be able to surpass 0.25 again. We definitely have to wait and see. The floor is pretty thick, but the buys are still slowly coming in. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated here in a little bit with what happens. The volume has slowed down a ton and the floor has dipped a good amount. We're back down to about 0.19, but there is a good amount of resistance there. So I don't see it going much lower from here. I think we'll have a solid bounce. It's just a matter of how long this little dip will take to bounce back up. But the volume is still decently coming in. 268 sales in the last 10 minutes. That's still pretty good to see that people are still buying. And we'll see if we are able to catch this next bounce here, or if I'm just going to de-risk my other one at about 0.2 within the next like 5 minutes or so. All right, it's been about 20 minutes so far, and I feel like this is pretty much the bottom at about 0.17. You can see a lot of these very bottom sales have been 0.17, so I think this should be where the resistance will stay. I'm hoping that this starts to pick back up and bounce from here. It looks like the sales are slowly starting to move back up in price, which is really good to see, and the chart is slowly kind of leaning up. So that's good to see. I think another 10-15 minutes and we can probably be back in the 0.19 range. The floor is, there's only needs to be 60 sales to get back to 0.19. I think I'm going to look to exit just a little bit above 0.2, and we'll see where it goes from there. So the bounce that we've seen, it's starting to slowly come back up on the floor price. It's not super aggressive like a lot of the bounces that we see, where it usually is a nice like U shape and the floor will dip super quick but then reaccumulate quite fast as well. This one's slowly going up, but it's definitely moving in the upward direction, which is good to see. I do think that we can get back to about 0.21-ish. There's still been 200 sales in the last 10 minutes, so the volume is still there. We're seeing good signs on this project as a whole, but definitely I am personally going to look to exit here in a few minutes. I'm just going to kind of let this ride out for a little bit more. It's only been an hour or so since I have minted, so it's still good to see that the floor is holding up and bouncing back up. Okay, I think I'm going to exit about now. The volume, it just doesn't seem strong enough to really push through and go much higher in my opinion. There are sales starting to come through at about 0.2. There was a pretty big sweep at 0.199, which is good to see. But like I was saying earlier, if you round down your numbers to like 0.199 or 0.198, you'll have a lot better chance of your selling compared to listing at the 0.2 range. You can see there's a lot less competition. Listing a little bit below 0.2 compared to listing in this 0.2 range, there is a lot of listings here that you'd have to compete with to hope that yours gets bought. And in my opinion, I just really don't see it being worth it to go for that extra like $10 if you're looking to sell quite instantly. So I would just recommend listing a little bit below 0.2, and usually you can get yours to sell a lot faster. So I'm going to be selling my second one at 0.1975. I'm just going to take my profits there. It's pretty much a 2x for this project. I will add up the total amount of profit that I made at the end of this video, and I will give you guys a quick breakdown of how much I profited after fees and everything like that. And I'll keep you guys updated once this individual NFT sells. I was about to do a manual dinky little Dutch auction and list mine on the floor because mine was not selling, but it ended up selling at about 0.198, and the bounce has pretty much not bounced. It's kind of just leveled out here. So that's why I took my profits. The volume has slowed down a lot. So we'll see how much profit I made off of those two NFTs in about an hour, and we'll see what this ends up doing, if I regret this decision or not. But I think for now, I'm pretty happy. Profit is profit, and I'm just going to move on to the next project. So a quick way to calculate your profits, you can come over to etherscan.io. You can look up your wallet address on there, and it'll show you your transaction hash. And so you will click on the transaction hash where you minted, and you'll click on that. You'll copy this transaction hash, and then you will come over to derisk.tools, paste in the transaction hash, and it will show you the total amount that you need to de-risk for. So if you were able to sell at 0.2511, that would completely cover your costs and you wouldn't lose any money. So for both of those sales total, I made 0.4325, and so my total profit was about 0.1678. So in that hour I made about $400-500, which is pretty good. Obviously you'd like to see more off of a flip, but I mean, profit is profit, and for an hour's work, that's really not too bad in my opinion. But yeah, if you guys haven't heard of this tool, derisk.tools, definitely one to check out if you're questioning how much you need to sell for to be able to break even. And then it's a quick way to calculate your profits and kind of just keep track of everything. Also, you can look up Ethereum to your currency converter, and then it'll pop up and you can just type in the amount of ETH and it'll give you your currency. I'm in US dollar, so for that total profit of 0.1678, I made about $544 in the last hour, so a little bit more than I thought, but pretty good for an hour's work. And that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like down below, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below if you learned anything in this video, or if you have any questions for me about this video as a whole, or any other recommendations you guys would like to see from me in the future. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at 0x_dab. I appreciate all of you guys' support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.